you'd better fetch the ice bucket.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you manage to get the ice out of those little tin trays?
Yes, ma'am. I had a bit of trouble with the dough, but it's all right.
And you filled them up again with water?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, very good, Edith. You're making giant strides.
Yes, ma'am.
Madam Arcadi, Mrs. Bradman, and I will have our coffee in here after dinner. Dr. Bradman and Mr. Condamine will have theirs in the dining room. Is that quite clear?
Yes, ma'am.
And when serving dinner, Edith, try to remember to do it calmly and methodically. As we are not in the Navy, it is unnecessary to do everything at the double.
Very good, ma'am.
Now run and fetch the ice.
Yes, ma'am.
And not at a run, Edith.
Yes, ma'am.
No sign of the dancing horse?
Not yet.
No ice?
It's coming. I'm trying to discourage Edith from being quite so fleet of foot. You mustn't mind if everything's a little slow motion tonight.
I shall welcome it. The last few days have been extremely agitating. What do you suppose induced Agnes to leave us and go get married?
Oh, the reason was becoming increasingly obvious, dear.
Yes, but in these days nobody thinks of that sort of thing. She could have popped in the cottage hospital, hadn't popped out again.
Oh, her social life would have been seriously undermined.
We must keep Edith in the house more, dear.
That's right, Edith. Put the ice on the table.
Yes, ma'am.
Thanks, Edith. I left my pipe on the dressing table. Would you go get it for me?
Yes, sir.
You took her by surprise.
Dry martini, I think, don't you?
Yes, darling, but I expect Madame Arcadi will want something sweeter.
We'll have this one for ourselves, anyhow.
Oh, dear.
What's the matter?
I'm feeling that this evening is going to be awful.
It'll probably be funny, but not awful.
You must promise not to catch my eye. If I giggle, and I'm very likely to, it would ruin everything.
You mustn't. You must be dead serious. And if possible, a little intense. We can't hurt the old girl's feelings, however funny she is.
But why the Bradmans, darling? He's as skeptical as we are, and he'll probably say the most dreadful things.
It had to be the Bradmans. There must be more than 3 people, and it couldn't have been the vicar and his wife because A, they're dreary, and B, they probably wouldn't have approved of the whole thing. Had to be the Bradmans. Thank you, Edith. Steady does it.
Yes, sir.
We might have her walk about like with a book on their head like they do in those deportment lessons. Here, try this.
Lovely, dry as a bone.
To the Unseen.
I must say, that's a wonderful title.
If this evening is a success, I shall start on the first draft tomorrow.
Oh, how extraordinary it is.
But
Oh, I don't know. Being right at the beginning of something, it gives one an odd feeling.
do you remember how I got the idea for The Light Goes Out?
Suddenly seeing that haggard rattle woman at the hotel appearance? Of course I remember. We sat up half the night talking about it.
She certainly came in very handy. I wonder who she was.
Oh, and if she ever knew, ever recognized, was that description of herself. Oh, poor thing. Well, here's to her anyhow.
Have another?
Darling, it's most awfully strong.
Never mind.
Used Elvira to be a help to you? When you were thinking something out, I mean.
Every now and then, when she concentrated, but she didn't concentrate very often.
I do wish I'd known her.
I wonder if you'd like her.
Oh, I'm sure I should. As you talk of her, she sounds enchanting. Yes, I'm sure I should have liked her. You know, because I've never for an instant felt in the least jealous of her. That's a good sign.
Poor Elvira.
Does it hurt when you think of her?
No, not really. Sometimes I almost wish it did. I feel rather guilty.
I wonder if I died before you'd grown tired of me, if you'd forget me so soon.
What a horrible thing to say.
Oh, no, I think it's interesting.
Well, to begin with, I haven't forgotten about Elvira. I remember her very distinctly indeed. I remember how fascinating she was and how maddening. I remember how badly she played all games and how cross she got when she didn't win. I remember her gay charm when she achieved her way over something and her extreme acidity when she didn't. I remember her physical attractiveness, which was tremendous. And her spiritual integrity, which was nil.
You can't remember something that was nil.
I remember how morally untidy she was.
Was she more physically attractive than I am?
That is a tiresome question, dear, and fully deserves the wrong answer.
You really are very sweet, dear.
Thank you.
And a little naive, too.
How do you mean?
Oh, because you think that I should mind about Elvira being more physically attractive than I am.
I should think any woman would, if it were true. Or perhaps I'm old-fashioned on my view of female psychology.
Not old-fashioned, darling, just a bit didactic.
How?
Well, it's didactic to attribute the defects of one type to another type. Or for instance, you know perfectly well that Elvira would mind terribly if you found another woman more physically attractive than she was. It doesn't necessarily follow that I should. Elvira was a more physical person than I am. I'm certain of that. It's all a question of degree.
I love you, my love.
I know you do. But not the wildest stretch of imagination could describe this as the first fine, careless rapture.
Would you like it to be?
Good God, no.
Isn't that a shade too vehement?
We're neither of us adolescent, Charles. We've neither of us grown up with exactly prim lives, have we? And we've both been married before. Careless rapture at this stage would be incongruous and embarrassing.
I hope I haven't been in any way a disappointment, my dear.
Oh, don't be idiotic.
After all, your first husband was a great deal older than you, wasn't he? I shouldn't like to think you missed out all along the line.
There are moments, Charles, when you go too far.
Sorry, darling.
As far as waspish female psychology goes, there's a rather strong vein of it in you.
I've heard that said about Julius Caesar.
Julius Caesar is neither here nor there.
He may be, for all we know. We'll ask Madame Arcadi.
You're awfully irritating when you're determined to be witty at all costs. Almost supercilious.
That's what Elvira used to say.
Oh, I'm not at all surprised. I never imagined, physically triumphant as she was, that she was entirely lacking in perception.
Darling, Ruth.
Oh, there you go again.
As I think I mentioned before, I love you, my love.
Poor Elvira.
Didn't that light camaraderie kiss mollify you at all?
You're very annoying, you know you are. When I said poor Elvira, it came from the heart. You must have bewildered her horribly.
Don't I ever bewilder you at all?
Never for an instant. I know every trick.
Well, that being said, we might as well get a divorce immediately.
Oh, put my glass down. There's darling.
Poor thing. It's a pity she died so young.
Oh, poor Elvira.
That remark is getting monotonous.
Poor Charles, then.
That's better.
And later on, poor Ruth, I expect.
You have no faith, Ruth. You really should have a little faith.
I shall strain every nerve.
Life without faith is narrow business.
How beautifully you put things, dear.
I am pleased.
I wonder if I died, if you'd marry so soon.
What a horrible thing to say.
Oh,
You're not the dying sort.
neither was Elvira.
Oh, yes, she was. Elvira had a more ethereal, not quite of this world quality. No one could even remotely call you ethereal.
Nonsense, she was of this earth, earthy.
Well, she is now, anyhow.
Oh. You know, Charles, that's the kind of observation that shocks people.
It's discouraging to think how many people are shocked by honesty and few by deceit.
Oh, write that down. You might forget it.
You underrate me.
Anyhow, it was a question of bad taste more than honesty.
I was married to Elvira for 5 years. She died. I missed her very much. That was 7 years ago. Now, with your help, my love, I've risen above the whole thing.
Admirable, but if tragedy should darken our lives, I still say with prophetic foreboding, poor Ruth.
That's probably the Bradmans.
It might be Madame Arcadi.
No, Madame Arcadi will be coming on her bicycle. She always goes everywhere on that bicycle. Shall I
Really?
get it, or shall I Edith have her fling?
Oh, wait a minute and see what happens.
Perhaps she didn't hear.
Oh, she's probably on one knee in pre-sprinting position waiting for Cook to open the kitchen door.
There now.
Yes, sir. Dr. and Mrs. Bradman.
We're not late, are we? I only got back from the hospital half an hour ago.
Of course not. Madame Arcadi's not even here yet.
That must have been Hurley Path coming down the hill. I said I thought it was.
Well, then she shan't be long. I'm so glad you could come.
Oh, we've been looking forward to it. I feel really quite excited.
I promised the vow would be good. I made her promise.
There wasn't any need. I'm absolutely thrilled. I've only seen Madame Arcadi screwed 3 times in the village, and I mean, she didn't seem to be doing anything at all peculiar, if you know what I mean.
Dry martini.
By all means.
She certainly is a strange woman. It was only a chance remark of the vicar about seeing her upon a knoll on a midsummer's eve, dressed in a sort of Indian robe, that made me inquire that she was a psychic at all. I started to make some inquiries, and sure enough, she's been a professional in London for years.
It's funny, isn't it? I mean, anybody doing it as a profession.
I believe it's very lucrative.
Do you believe in it, Mrs. Condamine? Do you think there's anything really genuine about it at all?
I'm afraid not, though I think it's interesting how easily people allow themselves to be deceived.
But she must believe it herself, mustn't she? Or is the whole business a fake?
A real professional charlatan, or that's what I'm hoping for anyhow. The character I'm playing for my book must be a complete imposter. That's one of the most important factors of the whole story.
What exactly are you hoping to get from her?
Jargon, principally, a few tricks of the trade. I haven't been to a seance for years, and I want to refresh my memory.
Then it's not entirely new to you.
Oh, good heavens, no. When I was a little boy, an auntie of mine used to come over. She thought that she was a medium. She used to go in those most elaborate trances after dinner. My mother was fascinated by it.
Was she convinced?
Good heavens, no. She had a natural dislike for my auntie and loved making a fool of her.
I gather there are never any tangible results.
Oh, sometimes she didn't do so badly. On one occasion, we were all sitting around in the pitch dark, listening to my auntie groping her way through Chaminade on the piano, and soon enough, my auntie stood up and gave a shrill scream. She said that she saw a small black dog by my chair. Someone flipped on the lights, and sure enough, there it was.
But how extraordinary.
It was obviously a stray that come in from the street, but I tip my hat off to Auntie for producing it, or rather, utilizing it. Even my mother was a bit shaken.
What happened to it?
It lived with us for years.
I sincerely hope Madame Arcadi won't produce any livestock. We have so little room in this house.
Do you think she tells fortunes? I love having my fortune told.
I expect so.
I was once told on a pier at Southsea that I was surrounded by lilies and a golden seven. It worried me for days.
We must all be serious, and not make her, upset.
Oh, it'd be so cruel to upset her. We'd feel so bad.
I shall be as good as gold.
Have you ever attended her, Doctor? Oh, professionally, I mean.
Yes, she had influenza in January. She's been here just over a year, Although she seemed singularly unpsychic then, I always understood her to be some sort of an authoress.
Oh, yes, we originally met in one of Mrs. Winmon's Sunday evenings in Sandgrave.
What sort of books does she write?
Two sorts, rather whimsical children's stories about enchanted woods, filled with highly conventional flora and fauna, and enthusiastic biographies, very reverent and sentimental and extremely funny.
Here she is.
You might want to go greet her, darling.
She knows, doesn't she, about tonight? You're not going to spring it on her.
Oh, of course, like we talked about it the other week, and when I told her I was interested in the occult, she blossomed like a rose.
Oh, I really do feel quite nervous, as though I were going to make a speech.
I've let my bike up against that little bush outside. It will be perfectly all right if no one touches it. Madame Arcadi.
My dear Madame Arcadi.
I'm afraid I'm rather late, but I had a sudden presentiment that I was going to have a puncture, so I went back to fetch my pump. And then, of course, I didn't have a puncture at all.
Perhaps she will on the way home.
Dr. Bratton, the man with the gentle hand.
Delighted to see you looking so well, Madame Arcadi. This is my wife.
We're all friends, me coming out of shops.
Would you like a cocktail?
If it's a dry martini, yes. If it's a concoction, no. Experience has taught me to be very wary of concoctions.
It's a dry martini.
How delicious. It was wonderful cycling through the woods tonight. I was deafened with bird song.
It's been lovely all day.
But the evening's the time, mark my words.
Here you are.
Thank you. Cheers. Cheers.
Do you find it tiring bicycling everywhere?
On the contrary, it stimulates me. I was getting far too sedentary in London. That horrid little flat with the dim lights. They had to be dim, the clients expected.
I must say, I find bicycling terribly exhausting.
Steady rhythm, that's what counts. Once you get the knack of it, you need never look back. On you get and away you go.
But those hills, Madame Arcadi, pushing up those awful hills.
Just knack again. Down with your head, up with your heart, and you're over the top like a flash and skimming down the other side like a dragonfly. This is the best dry martini I've had for years.
Would you have another?
Certainly. You're a very clever man. Anyone could write books, but it takes a true artist to make a dry martini that's dry enough.
Aren't you writing anything nowadays, Madame Arcadi?
Every morning, regular as clockwork, 7 till 1.
Is it a novel or a memoir?
It's a children's book. I have to finish it by the end of October to catch the Christmas sales. It's mostly about very small animals. The hero is a mosquito. I had to give up my memoir, Princess Pagliatani, because she died in April. We spoke about it the other day, and she implored me to go on with it, but I really hadn't the heart.
You spoke to her the other day?
Yes, for my control, of course. She sounded very irritable.
Oh, it's funny to think of people in the spirit world being irritable, isn't it? I mean, one can hardly imagine it, can one?
We have no idea that the spirit world is any less exasperating than this one.
Oh, Mr. Condamine, how can you?
I expect it's dreadfully ignorant of me not to know, but who is Princess Pagliatani?
She was originally a Jewess from Odessa of quite remarkable beauty. It's an accepted fact that people used to stand on the seats of railway stations to watch her whiz by.
She was a keen traveler.
In her younger days, yes. Later on, she met her Mr. Clark of the consular service and settled down for a while.
And how did she become Princess Pagliatani?
That was years later. Mr. Clark left her penniless with two strapping young girls.
How unpleasant.
And so there was nothing for it but to obey the beckoning finger of adventure and take to the road again. So off she went, bag and baggage, to Vladivostok.
What an extraordinary place to go.
She had cousins there. Some years later, she met old Pagliatani, who was returning from a secret mission in Japan. He was immediately staggered by her beauty, and shortly afterwards married her. From then on, her life became really interesting.
I should hardly have described it as dull before.
But what happened to the girls?
She neither saw them nor spoke to them for 23 years.
How extraordinary.
Not at all. She was always very erratic emotionally.
Dinner is served.
Thank you, Edith. Shall we?
No red meat, I hope.
There will be meat, but I don't think it will be very red. Would you rather have an egg or something?
No, thank you. It's just that I make it a rule never to eat red meat before I work. It can sometimes have an odd effect.
What sort of effect?
No, nothing of the least importance. If it isn't very red, it won't matter much. Anyhow, we'll risk it.
Come along then. Madame Arcadi, you're on Charles's right.
On her mother's side, she went right back to the Borgias, which I think accounted for a lot one way or another. Even in her childhood, she was given to the most violent, destructive tempers. Very inbred, you know.
Yes, she must have been.
My control sounded quite scared when we spoke about it the other day. After all, she's only a child.
Do you always have a child as a control?
Yes, they're generally the best. Some mediums prefer teenagers, of course. I've always found them unreliable.
In what way unreliable?
Well, for one thing, they're frightfully lazy. And another, when faced with any sort of difficulty, they have to go off into their own tribal language, which is naturally unintelligible. That generally spoils everything and wastes a great deal of time. No, children are undoubtedly more satisfactory, especially when they've worked with you for a while and get to know your ways. Daphne has worked with me for years.
And she still goes on being a child. She doesn't show any signs of growing older.
Time values on the other side are utterly different from ours.
Do you feel funny when you go into a trance?
In what way? Funny.
Mrs. Bradman doesn't mean funny in its comic implication. I think she simply meant odd or strange.
The word was an unfortunate choice.
I'm sure I'm very sorry.
Please, don't apologize. It doesn't matter in the least.
When did you first discover that you had these extraordinary powers?
When I was quite tiny. My mother was a medium before me, you know, so I had every opportunity of starting from the ground floor, as you might say. I had my first trance when I was 4 years old, and my first ectoplasmic manifestation when I was 5 and a half. What an exciting day that was. I shall never forget it. Of course, the manifestation itself was quite small and of very short duration, but for a child of my tender years, it was most gratifying.
Your mother must have been so pleased.
She was.
Can you foretell the future?
Certainly not. I disapprove of fortune tellers most strongly.
Really? Why?
Too much gas and fake mixed in with it, even when the gift is genuine, and it very only occasionally is. You can't count on it.
Well, why not?
Time again. Time's the reef upon which all of our frail mystic ships are wrecked.
You mean because it has never yet been proved that the past, the present, and the future are not one and the same thing?
I long ago came to the conclusion that nothing has ever been definitely proved about anything.
Oh, how very wise. Edith, I want you to leave the dining room just as it is for tonight. We can share in the morning.
Yes, ma'am.
And we do not want to be disturbed for the next hour or so for any reason whatsoever. Is that quite clear?
Yes, ma'am.
And if anyone should telephone, just say we're out and take a message.
Yes, ma'am. Unless it's an urgent call for George.
Unless it's an urgent call for Dr. Bradman.
Yes, ma'am.
There's not likely to be one, is there?
No, I don't think so.
Once I'm off, it won't matter, but an interruption during the preliminary stages might be disastrous.
I wish the men would hurry up. I'm terribly excited.
Please, don't be. It makes everything much, much more difficult.
How right you are.
Well, Madame Arcadi, the time is drawing near.
Who knows? It may be receding.
How very true.
I hope you're feeling in the mood, Madame Arcadi.
It isn't a question of mood. It's a question of concentration.
You must forgive us. We can perfectly easily wait, though, if you're not quite ready to start.
Nonsense, my dear. I'm absolutely ready. Hi ho, to work we go.
Is there anything you'd like us to do?
Do?
Hold hands or anything?
All that will come later. First, a few deep, deep breaths of fresh air. You may talk if you wish, won't disturb me in the least.
Oh, dear.
I congratulate you on your dinner, darling.
The moose wasn't quite right.
It looked a bit hysterical, but it tastes all right.
That cuckoo is very angry.
I beg your pardon?
I said that cuckoo is very angry. Listen.
How can you tell?
Timbre. No moon. That's as well. There's a mist rising from the marshes. There's no need for me to light my bicycle lamp, is there? I mean, no one's likely to fall over it.
No, we're not expecting anyone else.
Very well. Good night, you foolish bird. You have a table.
Yes, we thought this one would do.
I think this one would be better.
Change over.
You told Edith we didn't want to be disturbed.
Yes, darling.
This is a moment I always hate.
Are you nervous?
Yes, when I was a little girl, I used to be sick.
How fortunate you grew out of it.
Children are always much more prone to be sick than adults, though, aren't they? I know I could never travel in a train with any degree of safety until I was 14.
Little Tommy Tucker sings for his supper. What shall he have but brown bread and butter? I despise that because it doesn't rhyme in the least, but Daphne loves it.
Who's Daphne?
Daphne's Madame Arcadi's control. She's a little girl.
Of course, I see.
How old is she?
Rising 7 when she died.
And when was that?
February the 6th, 1884.
Poor little thing.
She should be a bit long in the tooth by now, I should think.
You should think, Dr. Bradman, but I'm afraid you don't. At least not profoundly enough.
George, sit down. You'll put Madame Arcadi off.
Don't worry, my dear. I'm quite used to skeptics. They usually turn out to be the most vulnerable and receptive in the long run.
You better take that warning to heart, Dr. Bradman.
Please forgive me, Madame Arcadi. I assure you, I'm most deeply interested.
It is of no consequence. We all sit down around the table, please, and place your hands facing down on it.
Would you like me to get the lights or the gramophone?
Please stay where you are, Mr. Condamine. The fingers should be touching. That's right. I presume that this is the gramophone, Mr. Condamine.
Yes, it's an electric one. Would you like me to start it?
Stay where you are. I can manage. Now let me see. What have we here? Brahms? Dear me, no. Rachmaninoff? Too florid. Where's the dance music?
They're the loose ones on the left.
Very well, I see.
I'm afraid none of them are very new.
Daphne's really more attached to Irving Berlin than anyone else. She likes a tune she can hum. Oh, here's one. Always.
Not always.
Oh, what is the matter, Charles?
Nothing at all.
The light switch is the one by the door.
Yes.
There, I see. Now there are one or two things I should like to explain before we get started. So are you all listening attentively?
Of course.
Presently, when the music begins, I shall switch out the lights. And then either walk about the room or lie down flat. In due course, I shall place myself between you and your wife, Mr. Condamine, and rest my hands gently on yours. I must ask you not to address me, or to move, or to do anything in the least distracting. Is that quite clear?
Perfect.
Of course, I cannot guarantee that anything will happen at all. Daphne may be unavailable. She had a head cold very recently and was rather under the weather. Poor child. On the other hand, a great many things might occur. One of you might have an emanation, for instance, or might contact a poltergeist, which would be extremely destructive and noisy.
Oh, in what way destructive?
They throw things, you know.
No, I didn't know.
But we must cross that bridge when we come to it, mustn't we?
Certainly.
Fortunately, an elemental at this time of the year is highly unlikely.
And what do elementals do?
My dear, one can never tell. Usually they come in the form of a very strong wind,
I don't think I shall like that much.
occasionally reaching hurricane velocity.
You don't think it wise to take the more breakable ornaments off the mantle before we begin?
Mrs. Condamine, that really is not necessary. I can assure you that I have my own methods of dealing with elementals.
Oh, I'm so glad.
Now, are we all ready to empty our minds?
You mean you want us to think of nothing?
Absolutely nothing, Dr. Bradman. Focus on a space or a nondescript color. That really is the best way.
I shall do my damnedest.
Good work. I will now start the music.
Oh, do keep still, Charles. He was touching George.
Quiet, please. Is there anyone there? Is there anyone there? 1 rap for yes, 2 raps for no. Now then, is there anyone there? Is that you, Daphne? Is your cold better, dear? I'm sorry. Are you doing anything for it? I'm afraid she's rather fretful. Now then, Daphne, is there anyone there who wishes to speak to anyone here? Good stuff. Oh, Daphne, don't do that, dear. Stop it. You're hurting me. Stop it. Be good. There's a dear child. Now then, you say that there is someone there who wishes to speak to someone here. Is it me? Is it Dr. Bradman? Is it Mrs. Bradman? Is it Mrs. Condamine? Stop it, behave yourself. Is it Mr. Condamine? There's someone who wishes to speak to you, Mr. Condamine.
Tell him to leave a message.
I really must ask you not to be flippant, Mr. Condamine.
Well, do be quiet, Charles. You'll spoil everything.
Sorry, darling.
Now, do you know anyone who has passed over recently?
Not recently. Well, there was my cousin in civil service, but there's no need for him to contact me.
Are you Mr. Condamine's cousin in the civil service? I'm afraid we've drawn a blank. Can't you think of anyone else? Rack your brains.
Oh, it might be old Mrs. Plummet. She died on Whit Monday.
Why would old Mrs. Plummet want to speak with me?
It's worth trying anyhow.
Are you old Mrs. Plummet?
She was rather deaf. Perhaps you'd better shout.
Are you old Mrs. Plummet? There's no one there at all.
How disappointing, just when we were getting on so nicely.
What?
I'm afraid there's nothing for it but for me to go into a trance. I'd hope to avoid it because it's so exhausting, but what must be, must be.
That would be Daphne. She ought to have had a rat nose out.
George, please!
Oh, God!
He's trying to get away!
Press down harder!
Oh, we to fix it or leave it how it is?
How the hell should I know?
There's no need to snap at me.
Leave it where it is.
Who said that?
Who said what?
Somebody said leave it where it is.
Oh, nonsense.
I heard it distinctly.
Oh, nobody else did they?
I didn't hear a sound.
It's you, Ruth. You're playing tricks.
I've done nothing of the sort. I haven't uttered.
Good evening, Charles.
Ventriloquism, that's what it is. It's ventriloquism.
Well, what is the matter with you?
One of you must have heard that. One of you?
I certainly didn't.
Neither did I. I wish I had. I should love to hear something.
It is you who are playing the tricks, Charles. You're acting in order to frighten us.
I'm not. I swear I'm not.
It's difficult to think of what to say after 7 years, but I suppose a good evening is as good as anything else.
Who said that?
Elvira, of course. Don't be so silly.
That's it. That's it. The entertainment's over. Everyone out.
Oh.
never again as long as I live.
What is the matter?
Nothing at all.
Did you hear anything that we didn't? Really?
Of course not. I was just pretending.
Oh, I know you were.
Oh dear, look at that, Marcotti.
What are we to do with her?
Bring her round as soon as possible.
I think we ought to leave her where she is.
Oh, but she might stay like that for hours.
She's out all right.
Oh, bring her round. Madame Arcadi, get her some brandy. Help me, Bradley, get her on the couch.
1, 2, 3.
Wake up, Madame Arcadi. Little Tommy Talker. Madame Arcadi.
Here's the break.
Madame Arcadi, wake up.
She's coming round.
Oh, be careful, Charles. You're spilling it all down her dress.
Madame Arcadi. Oh.
That's that.
Are you all right?
Certainly I am. Never felt better in my life.
Oh.
Would you like some more brandy?
So that's that funny taste in my mouth. Well, really. Fancy allowing you to give me brandy, Dr. Bradman. You ought to know that brandy on top of a trance could have been catastrophic. Take it away, please. I probably shan't live away tonight as it is.
I know I shan't.
Why on earth not?
The whole experience has unhinged me.
Well, what happened? Was it satisfactory?
Nothing much happened after you went off, Madame Arcadi.
Something happened, all right. I can feel it. No poltergeist, at any rate. That's a good thing. Any apparitions?
Not a thing.
No ectoplasm?
I'm not quite sure what that is, but I don't think so.
Very curious. I feel as though something tremendous has taken place.
Oh, Charles pretended he heard a voice in order to frighten us.
It was only a joke.
A very poor one, if I may say so. Nevertheless, I'm prepared to swear that there is someone else psychic in this house apart from myself.
Oh, I don't see how there could be, really, Madame Arcadi.
Well, I'll find out within a day or two. If any manifestation should occur, or you hear any unexpected noises, you might let me know at once.
Of course, we'll telephone immediately.
I really must be on my way now.
Would you like anything before you go?
No, thank you. I have some Ovaltine already in the saucepan at home. It only needs hotting up.
Wouldn't you rather leave your bicycle here and have us drive you?
I honestly do think you should, Madame Arcadi, after that trance and everything. You can't be feeling quite yourself.
Nonsense, my dear. I'm fit as a fiddle. Always feel capital after a trance. Rejuvenates me. Good night, Mrs. Condamine.
Good night.
I'm so sorry so little occurred. It's that cold of Daphne's, I expect. You know how children are when they have anything wrong with them. You must try again some other evening.
Oh, that would be lovely.
Good night, Mrs. Bradman.
Good night. It was a thrilling evening. It really was. I felt the table shaking beneath my hands.
Good night, Dr. Bradman.
Congratulations, Madame Arcadi.
I'm fully aware of the irony in your voice, Dr. Bradman. In fact, I think you'd be an admirable subject for telepathic hypnosis. A great chum of mine is an expert. I should like her to look you over.
I should be charmed, I'm sure.
Well, good night, everyone. Next time we must really put our backs into it.
Oh, dear.
Be careful, Mrs. Conway, she might hear you.
Oh, I can't help it. I can't really. I've been holding this in for ages.
She certainly put you in your place, Stuart, and served you right.
Oh, she's raving mad, of course. Mad as a hatter.
What do you honestly think she believes?
Of course not. The whole thing's a put-up job. Although, I must say, she shoots a more original line than they generally do.
I should think that she'd have convinced herself by now.
Possibly the trance was genuine enough, but that can be easily accounted for.
What, hysteria?
A form of hysteria, I should imagine.
I do hope Mrs. Conway will the atmosphere he wanted for his book.
He would have gotten a great deal more if he hadn't gone and spoilt everything. I really am very cross with him. I suddenly felt a draft. Is there a window open?
No, they're closed.
Perhaps it was one of those whatchamacallits that Abercrombie was talking about.
Elemental.
No. She distinctly said it was the wrong time of year for an elemental.
Well, the old girl's gone piling off down the drive at a hell of a speed. We had trouble lighting her lamp, though.
Poor thing.
You know, I have a theory about her. I believe that she's completely sincere.
Oh, Charles, how could she be?
Couldn't it be true, Doctor? Some sort of self-hypnotism?
Oh, it might be. As I was telling your wife just a minute ago, there are certain hysterical subjects.
George, dear, it's getting terribly late. We really must get going. You have to get up so early in the morning.
You see, the minute I begin to talk about anything that really interests me, my wife interrupts me.
No, I'm right, dear. It's past 11.
I shall do some reading up on the whole subject. Just for the fun of it.
Would you like some brandy before you go?
No, Violet's quite right. We must be off. I have a patient being operated on in Canterbury, abominably early tomorrow.
Good night, Mrs. Condamine. It was a thrilling evening. It was sweet of you to include us.
Good night.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Condamine.
Oh.
Sure about that drink?
Quite sure, thanks.
Oh, we'll make sure to call if we find any poltergeists swirling about.
I should never forgive you if you didn't.
Come along here.
Well, darling,
Well,
I must say, this evening has been interesting.
yes, it had.
What's the matter?
The matter?
Yes, you seem old somehow. Do you feel quite well?
Perfectly. Would you like something to drink?
Oh, no thank you, dear.
It's rather chilly in this room.
We'll come over by the fire.
I don't think I'll make any notes tonight. I'll start fresh in the morning.
Charles!
That was very clumsy, Charles, dear.
Elvira, then it's true it was you.
Well, of course it was.
Charles, what are you talking about?
Are you a ghost?
I suppose I must be. It's all very confusing.
Charles, why do you keep looking over there? Oh, look at me. What's the matter?
Don't you see her?
See what?
Elvira.
Elvira?
Yes, Elvira, dear, this is Ruth. Ruth Elvira.
Come and sit down, darling.
Do you mean to say you can't see her?
Oh, why don't you sit down quietly by the fire and I'll make you another drink. Oh, don't worry about the mess. Edith can clean it in the morning.
You must be able to see her. She's right there.
Sit down, darling.
Oh, what am I to do?
What Ruth suggested? Listen, darling, I think you might be a little more pleased to see me after all. You conjured me up.
I did nothing of the sort.
Oh, nonsense. Of course you did. That awful child with the cold came over, told me he wanted to see me urgently.
It was a mistake, a horrible mistake.
Charles, as I think I said before, the joke's gone far enough.
Oh, I'm gone mad. Gone
Here,
mad.
here.
This is appalling.
Relax.
Relax? How can I relax? I shall never be able to relax again.
Drink some brandy.
There, now are you satisfied?
Now sit down.
What do you want me to sit down for?
I want you to relax. You can't relax standing up.
Oh, African natives can. They can sit on one leg for hours.
I don't happen to be an African native.
You happen to be what?
An African native.
Oh, well, what's that got to do with it?
Oh, forget about it. Nothing. Look, I've sat down.
Oh, would you like some more brandy?
Yes, please.
Oh, very unwise. You always had a weak head.
I could drink you under the table.
There's no need to be aggressive, Charles. I'm doing my best to help you.
Sorry, darling.
Now drink this and then we'll go to bed.
Get rid of it, Charles, and then we can talk in peace.
That's a thoroughly immoral suggestion. You ought to be ashamed of yourself.
What is there immoral in that?
I wasn't talking to you.
Who were you talking to then?
Elvira.
Oh, to hell with Elvira.
There now, she's getting cross.
I don't blame her.
What don't you blame her for?
Oh, God.
Now look here, Charles. I gather you got some sort of plan behind all this. I'm not quite a fool. I suspected you during that idiotic seance.
Don't be silly. What plan could I have?
It's probably to do with the characters in your book, how they or one of them would react in a certain situation. I refuse to be used as a guinea pig. Unless I'm warned beforehand what it's all about.
Don't be silly, Ruth. She's there, right in front of you.
Yes, dear. I can see her distinctly underneath the desk with a zebra.
Oh, Ruth.
I'm
darling.
not going to take this any longer.
Oh, good.
Shut up!
How dare you speak to me like that?
Ruth, listen.
I will not listen to any more of this nonsense. I'm going up to bed. I shan't be asleep. I'm too upset. So I'll leave you to turn off the lights and you can come up and say goodnight to me if you'd like.
That is big of her, I must say.
Be quiet. You're behaving like a gutter snipe.
That's all. Good night, Charles.
Ruth.
That was one of the most enjoyable half hours I have ever spent.
Oh, Elvira, how could you?
Poor Ruth.
It's obviously a hallucination, isn't it?
I'm afraid I don't know the technical term for it.
What am I to do?
What Ruth suggested, relax.
Where have you come from?
You know, it's very peculiar, but I seem to have forgotten.
Are you to be here indefinitely?
I don't know that either.
Oh, God.
Why? Would you hate it so much if I was?
Well, you must admit it would be embarrassing.
I don't see why, really. It's all a question of adjusting yourself. Anyhow, I think it's horrid of you to be so unwelcoming and disagreeable.
Now look here, Elvira.
I do. I think you're mean.
Oh, try to see my point a little, dear. You've been dead for 7 years, and I've been married to Ruth for 5.
Not dead, Charles. Passed over. It's vulgar to say dead where I come from.
Passed over, then.
At any rate, now that I'm here, the least you can do is make a pretense of being amiable about it.
Oh, my dear, delighted in one way.
I don't believe you love me anymore.
I shall always love the memory of you.
You mustn't think me unreasonable, but I really am a little hurt. You called me back, and in great inconvenience I came, and you've been thoroughly churlish ever since I arrived.
I most emphatically did not call you back.
Well, somebody did, and that child said it was you. I remember I was playing backgammon with a very sweet, old Oriental gentleman. I think his name was Genghis Khan. And I just threw double sixes. And then the child paid me before I knew I was in this room, and perhaps was your subconscious.
Well, you have to find out whether you're going to stay or not, and we'll make arrangements accordingly.
I don't see how I can.
Well, there must be somebody on the other side, or whatever you want to call it, that could help you.
I can't think. It seems so far away, as though I dreamed it.
Well, you must know somebody else besides Genghis Khan.
Oh, Charles.
What?
I think I want to cry, but I'm not able to.
What do you want to cry for?
Seeing you again, and you being so irascible like you always used to be.
I don't mean to be a rascal, Elvira.
Oh, darling, I don't mind. I never did, really.
Oh, Elvira. Is it cold being a ghost?
No, I don't think so.
Can I touch you?
I doubt if you can. Do you want to?
Oh, Elvira.
What is it, darling?
It is strange seeing you again.
That's better.
What's better?
Your voice was kinder.
Was I ever unkind to you when you were alive?
Often.
Oh, I'm sure that's an exaggeration.
Not at all. You were an absolute pig that time we went to Cornwall and stayed at that awful hotel. You hit me with the billiard cue.
Only very, very gently.
I loved you very much.
I loved you too. No, I can't touch you. Isn't that horrible?
Perhaps it's as well when to say for any length of time.
I guess I shall wake up eventually. But I feel strangely peaceful now.
That's right. Now your head back.
Like this?
Can you feel anything?
Only a slight breeze through my hair.
It's better than nothing.
I guess if I'm really insane, they'll put me in an asylum.
Oh, don't worry about that now. Just relax.
Poor Ruth.
To hell with Ruth.
You missed a piece of glass right there.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
There's some to your right. Your other right, Edith.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Edith, there's a piece in front of you.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Oh, Edith, you missed a piece back here.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Edith, there's some to your left.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Edith, your other left.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Oh, never mind. Why don't you fix the semantics?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
To the right.
Yes, ma'am.
Your other right.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Too much. No. To the right. Perfect. Perfect. Oh, Edith, these curtains. Can you fix these curtains?
Yes, ma'am.
Close them. Calmly. Slowly. In the middle, Edith. Not down the left. The middle. The middle. Oh, open them again, Edith.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
No use. Slowly. Don't tear them. Very good. Open the right one a little more. Just a little. Ooh, a little more. A little more. A little more. Ah, too much. Perfect. To the right. Just. But that's good. That's good. Oh, Edith. There's still some glass on the floor.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Oh, you dropped some over there.
Yes, ma'am.
Edith, there's some behind you to the right. Perfect. There's some right here.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Oh, Edith, you missed some over there.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, Edith, there's a piece right there. Right there. No, right there. Never mind, Edith. I'll do it myself.
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning, darling.
Good morning, Charles.
Certainly is.
What certainly is what?
A good morning. A tremendously good morning. There isn't a cloud in the sky and everything that's newly washed.
Edith's keeping your breakfast hot. You'd better ring.
Anything interesting in the Times?
And don't be silly, dear.
I intend to work all day.
Good.
It's extraordinary about daylight, isn't it?
How do you mean?
The way it reduces everything to normal?
Does it?
Yes, it does.
Oh, well, I'm sure I'm very glad to hear it.
You're extremely glacial this morning.
Are you surprised?
Frankly, yes. I expected more of you.
Oh, perhaps this is one of my off days.
Good morning, Edith.
Good morning, sir.
Feeling fit?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
House cook.
I don't know, sir. I haven't asked her.
You should. You should begin every morning by asking someone how they are. It oils the wheels.
Yes, sir.
Greet her for me.
Yes, sir.
That will be all for now, Edith.
Yes, sir.
I really wish you wouldn't be so facetious with the servants. It confuses them and undermines their morale.
I consider that point of view retrogressive, if not downright futile.
Now, look here, Charles. In your younger days, this display of roguish flippancy might have been alluring. But in a middle-aged novelist, it's nauseating.
I don't know what I've done that's so awful.
You behaved abominably last night. You wounded me and insulted me.
I was a victim of an aberration.
Nonsense, you were drunk.
Drunk?
You had 4 strong dry martinis before dinner, a great deal too much burgundy at dinner, God knows how much port and Cummel with Dr. Bradman, while I was doing my best to entertain that mad woman, and 2 double brandies later, I gave them to you myself. Of course you were drunk.
So that's your story, is it?
You refused to come to bed, and finally when I came down at 3 in the morning to see what had happened to you, I found even an alcoholic had come on the sofa with the fire out and your hair in your face.
I was not in the least bit drunk.
Oh,
Something happened to me last night. Something very peculiar happened to me.
nonsense.
It isn't nonsense. I swear to you that I saw Elvira.
Oh, nobody else did.
I can't help that. I did.
But you couldn't have.
I know I couldn't have, but I did. And later on, I was equally convinced that she was in this very room. I saw her and spoke to her distinctly. After you'd gone up to bed, we had quite a cozy little chat.
Oh, and you seriously expect me to believe that you weren't drunk?
I know I wasn't drunk. I haven't got a trace of a headache. And my tongue's not coated. Look at it.
Oh, I'm not the least desire to look your tongue. Kindly put it in again.
I know what it is.
Huh.
You're frightened.
Frightened? Rubbish. What is there to be frightened of?
Elvira.
Oh.
You wouldn't mind it all that much if I wasn't the least bit drunk. It's because it was all mixed up with Elvira.
I seem to remember last night before dinner telling you that your views of female psychology were a bit didactic. I should have also added puerile.
That's when it all began.
Oh, when what all began?
We had Elvira too strongly on our minds.
Oh.
It's dangerous to have somebody on your mind when you're dabbling with the occult.
She wasn't strongly in my mind.
She wasn't mine.
Oh, she was she?
You tried to make me say that she was more physically attractive than you, so you could hold it over me.
I did not. I don't give a hoot how physically attractive she was.
Oh, yes, you do. Your whole being is devoured with jealousy.
Oh, this is too much.
Women, my God, what I think about women.
Huh. Your view of women is academic, to say the least of it. Just because you've always been dominated by them, it doesn't necessarily follow that you should know anything about them.
I haven't been dominated by anyone.
You were hag-ridden by your mother until you were 23. And then you got into that awful clutches of Mrs. whatever her name was.
Mrs. Winthrop Llewellyn.
I'm not interested. And then there was Elvira. She ruled you with a rod of iron.
Elvira never ruled anyone. She was much too elusive. That was one of her greatest charms.
Then there was Maud Chartreuse.
If you wish to make an inventory of my sex life, dear, I think it only fair to tell you that you've missed out on several episodes. I will consult my diary and give you the complete list after lunch.
There's no use trying to impress me with your routine amorous exploits, Charles.
The only woman who's ever dominated me is you, Ruth. You've been at it for years.
That is completely untrue.
Oh, no, it isn't. You boss me and bully me and order me about. You don't even allow me to have a hallucination if I want to.
Alcohol? Alcohol will ruin your life if you allow it to get a hold of you, Charles.
Once And for all, Ruth, I would like to explain to you that what happened last night had nothing whatever to do with alcohol. I will grant you that it was an aberration. Some sort of odd psychic delusion brought on by hypnosis or something. And I was stone cold sober from first to last and extremely upset into the bargain.
You were upset? Indeed. What about me? You called me a gutter snipe. You told me to shut up. And when I quietly suggested that we go to bed, you said with the most disgusting leer that it was an immoral suggestion.
I was talking to Elvira.
If you were, I can only say it conjures up a fragrant picture of your first marriage.
My first marriage was perfectly charming. And I think in the most disgusting leer for you to sneer at it.
Oh, I'm not nearly interested in your first marriage as you think I am. It's your second marriage that's absorbing me at the moment. It seems to be on the rocks.
Only because you persist on taking up this ridiculous attitude.
Oh, my attitude is that of any normal woman whose husband gets drunk and hurls abuse at her.
I was not drunk!
Be quiet, they'll hear you.
I don't care if they hear me in Folkestone Town Hall. I was not drunk.
Control yourself, Charles.
How can I control myself in the face of your idiotic damn stubbornness? It's giving me claustrophobia.
Oh, perhaps we better call Dr. Bradman.
Can I clear, please, ma'am?
Yes, Edith.
Cook wants to know about lunch club.
Will you be into lunch, Charles?
Please don't worry about me. I'll be perfectly fine with a bottle of gin in my bedroom.
Don't be silly, dear. Tell Cook we shall both be in.
Yes, ma'am.
Be reasonable.
Oh, I'm perfectly reasonable.
I wasn't pretending. I really did believe that I saw Elvira, and when I heard her voice, I was appalled.
Well, you put up with it for 5 years.
I really did see her. When I saw her, I had the shock of my life. That's why I dropped the glass on the floor.
But you couldn't have seen her.
I know I couldn't have, but I did.
I'm willing to concede then that you imagined you did.
That's what I've been trying to explain to you for hours.
Oh, then there's obviously something wrong with you.
Exactly. There's something wrong with me. Something fundamentally wrong with me. That's why I've been imploring your sympathy, and all I got was a sterile temperance lecture.
You had been drinking, Charles. There's no denying that.
No more than usual.
Well, how do you account for it then?
I can't account for it.
How did you feel yesterday? Well, during the day, I mean.
All right, I guess.
What did you have for lunch?
You want to know? You had it with me.
Let me see. We had lemon sole. Ugh, and that cheese thing.
Why should having a cheese thing for lunch make me see my deceased wife after dinner?
You never know who was rather rich.
Then why didn't you see your deceased husband then? You would just as much as I did.
This isn't getting us anywhere.
I know it isn't, and it won't, if you keep on ascribing supernatural phenomena to colonic irritation.
Perhaps you ought to see a psychoanalyst.
I refuse to endure months of expensive humiliation, only to be told at the end, at the age 4, I was in love with my rocking horse.
Perhaps there's something pressing on your brain.
If there was something pressing on my brain, I should have violent headaches, shouldn't I?
You never know. An uncle of mine had the lump the size of a cricket ball pressing on his brain, and he never knew about it for years.
Did he see anything that wasn't there? Did he have any sort of delusions?
I don't think so.
Well, then what the hell are we talking about him for?
I only brought him up as an example. How do you feel now?
Well, physically, do you mean?
All together.
Apart from being worried, I feel quite normal.
Good. You're not hearing or seeing anything in the least unusual.
Not a thing.
You absolutely ruined that border by the sunbath. It looks like a mixed salad.
Oh, God.
What's the matter?
She's here again.
What do you mean? Who's here again?
Elvira.
Oh, pull yourself together and don't be absurd.
It's all those nasturtiums. They're so vulgar.
I happen to like nasturtiums.
You like what?
All right, moderation, but a mass like that, they look beastly.
Ruth, help me.
What do you mean about my nasturtiums?
Never mind about that. I tell you, she's here.
You've been having a nice scene, haven't you? Could hear you right down in the garden.
Oh, mind your own business.
If you behaving like a lunatic isn't my business, nothing is.
I suppose it was about me, wasn't it? I know I ought to feel sorry, but I'm not delighted.
How can you be so inconsiderate?
Inconsiderate. I like that, I must say.
Ruth, darling.
Charles, I've have controlled myself admirably, and I should like to say here and now that I don't believe a word about your damned hallucination. You're up to something. There's been a certain furtiveness in your manner for weeks, so why don't you be honest and tell me what it is?
You're wrong. You're dead wrong. I haven't been the least furtive.
You're trying to upset me. For some obscure reason, you're trying to goad me into doing something that I might regret. I won't stand for this any longer. You're making me utterly miserable.
Ruth, dear.
Don't come near me.
Oh, let her have a nice cry. It'll do her some good.
You're utterly heartless.
Heartless!
I was talking to Elvira.
Oh, go on talking to her then. Talk to her till you're blue in the face, but don't you talk to me.
Oh, Elvira, help me.
How?
I don't know, make her see you or something.
Oh, I'm afraid I couldn't manage that. It's technically the most difficult business. Frightfully complicated, you know. Takes years of study.
You are here, aren't you?
Oh.
You're not an illusion?
I may be an illusion, but I'm most definitely here.
Oh, Charles.
Yes, darling.
I'm awfully sorry I was cross, dear.
You are?
Yes, dear. I understand everything now.
You do?
Of course I do.
Look out, she's up to something.
Be quiet!
Of course we'll all be quiet, won't we? Quiet as mice.
Here.
Now I want you to come upstairs with me and go to bed.
Oh, the way that woman harps on bed is nothing short of erotic.
Oh, I'll deal with you later.
Very well, dear. Come along.
What are you up to?
I'm not up to anything. I just want you to go quietly to bed and wait there until Dr. Bradman comes.
No, Ruth, you're wrong.
Come, dear.
You know, she'll have you in a straitjacket before you know where you are.
Oh, Elvira, help me.
Oh, my-
Please help me.
My dear, with pleasure, but I can't think how.
I can. Listen, Ruth.
Yes.
If I promise to go to bed in 5 minutes, will you allow me to stay down here?
All right, what is it?
Sit down.
Hey there.
I would like to explain to you. So listen and listen carefully.
I'll have a cigarette. It'll soothe your nerves.
I don't want a cigarette.
Then you should have one.
Ruth, I would like to explain to you clearly and without emotion that beyond any shadow of doubt, the ghost or shade or whatever you like to call it of my first wife Elvira is in this room right now.
Yes, dear.
I know you don't believe me, and you're trying valiantly to humor me, but I intend to prove it to you.
Why don't you come to bed and you can prove anything you want to later on?
She may not be here later on.
Oh, don't worry. She will be.
Oh, God.
Hush, dear.
Elvira, will you do what I ask?
Well, that all depends on what it is.
Ruth, do you see that vase of flowers over there?
Yes, dear, I did it this morning.
Very entirely, if I may say so.
You may not.
Very well, I never will again.
Elvira will now take that vase of flowers to the mantelpiece and back again. Won't you, Elvira? Just to please me?
I don't see why I should. You've been quite acceptable to me ever since I materialized.
Please?
All right. I will, just this once. Not that I approve of all these masculine and divine carryings on.
Now, Ruth, watch the vase. Go on, Elvira, take it to the mantelpiece and back. Elvira!
Charles, you ought to be ashamed of yourself.
What on earth?
It's a trick. I know perfectly well it's a trick. You've been working up to this. It's all part of some horrible plan.
Elvira, do something else.
Oh, certainly, please oblige.
You're cruel and sadistic, and I'll never forgive you. You're trying to drive me out of my mind.
No.
I'm not going to stand this any longer.
Ruth, please. Listen, Ruth, it wasn't
Let
me.
me go.
It was Elvira.
Let me go.
Swear.
Let me go.
Oh.
Charles, this is madness. Sheer madness. Some sort of auto-suggestion. Some sort of hypnotism. Swear to me it's only that. Swear to me it's only that.
Hypnotism, my foot.
Madame Arcadi doing here?
She came to take me.
Did you ask her?
Of course I did.
Why?
Get me exercise, of course. Oh, I wish I could have a cucumber sandwich. I did love them so.
Is that true?
It's what, true?
What Elvira said.
You know perfectly well I can't hear what Elvira says.
She said that you had Madame Arcadi here to get her exercise.
Well, we discussed the possibilities.
Oh, there's a snake in the grass for you.
Ruth, if you could be a little more kinder, we could have all had a whole jolly time.
I know we should have a jolly time with Elvira.
Oh, she's certainly very bad-tempered, isn't she? I can't think why you married her.
You must admit this has been a shock.
Oh, but I was never bad-tempered, darling. Not even when you were beastly to me.
I wasn't beastly to you.
Where is Elvira at the moment?
In the chair.
Now look here, Elvira. I shall have to call you Elvira, shan't I? I can't go around saying Mrs. Con to mine all the time. That would sound too silly.
I don't see why.
Did she say anything?
She said she'd like nothing better.
Oh, you really are sweet, Charles, darling. I worship you.
I wish to be absolutely honest with you, Elvira.
Oh, hold on to your hats, boys.
I do admit that I did ask Madame Arcadi here with the view of getting you exercise, and I think if you were in my position, you would have done the same thing, wouldn't you?
I should have done so, obviously.
What did she say?
She just smiled and nodded.
There you go, Elvira. That really is very generous of you. I wish there would be no misunderstandings between us. And before I go any further, I want to ask you a frank question. Why did you come here? I don't see that you could have wanted to achieve anything beyond the immediate joke of turning Charles into some sort of astral bigamist.
I came because the power of Charles' love tugged at me. Didn't it, my sweet?
What did she say?
She said that she came because she wanted to see me again.
Well, she's done that now, hasn't she?
Can't be inhospitable, Ruth.
I have no wish to be inhospitable to Elvira. I just would like to know how long she plans on staying.
I don't know. I really don't know. Isn't it awful?
She says she doesn't know.
Well, surely that's a little inconsiderate.
Didn't the old, spiritualist have any constructive ideas of getting rid of me?
What did Madame Arcadi say?
She said she couldn't do a thing.
Good.
Don't be upset, Ruth dear. We should sooner adjust ourselves, you know. You must admit it is a unique experience. I see no valid reason why we shouldn't get a great time out of it.
Great time? Charles, how can you? You must be out of your mind.
I thought I was at first, but now I'm beginning to enjoy myself.
Oh, Charles.
Oh, she's off again.
Yes.
Now look here, Elvira.
She's by the window now.
Why the hell can't she stay in the same place?
Oh, temper again, my poor Charles with a terrible life in his lead.
It's been rough for her, you know.
This is intolerable. I've done my level best to control myself ever since yesterday morning, and I'm damned if I'm going to do it anymore. The strain is too much. She has the advantage of being able to say whatever she pleases without me being able to hear her. But she can hear me all right, can't she? Without any modified interpreting.
Modified interpreting, I must say.
You know exactly what I'm talking about. You haven't told me once what she really says. Judging from her photograph, she seems the type to use the most unpleasant language.
Ruth, you're not to talk like
Well,
that.
I've been making polite conversation all through dinner last night, breakfast and lunch today, and it's been a nightmare. I'm not going to do it anymore. If, since her untimely arrival, she had shown the slightest sign of breeding, or the slightest sign of good manners, I might have felt differently towards her. But all she has done is have private jokes between the two of you and make jokes against me. I'm not going to stand for this any longer. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to London to interview with the Psychical Research Society. And if they fail me, I'm going to go straight to the Archbishop of Canterbury.
Ruth.
Let her go. She'll calm down later on.
She's usually not like this. She's generally so equitable.
Oh, no, she's not. Not really. Do you love her?
Of course I do.
As much as you love me.
Don't be silly. That's entirely different.
Oh, I'm so glad. It could have never been the same, could it?
You must admit you behaved badly.
Oh, Charles.
I'm going up to talk to Ruth now.
I don't see why. She said I'm being so disagreeable. I should just let her get on with it.
She doesn't mean to be disagreeable. You must see.
She should learn to be more adaptable.
It's been a shock, you know.
Has it been a shock for you too, darling?
Of course it has.
A nice shock?
Oh, what do you want, Elvira?
What? I don't know what you mean.
Well, whenever I remember, whenever you used your overpowering demure, it usually meant that you wanted something.
It's hard of you to be so suspicious. All I want is to be with you.
Well, you are.
I mean alone, darling. If you go up and pamper Ruth and swarm her over, she'll probably come flouncing down again, and our lovely, quiet evening together will be spoiled.
You're disgraceful, Elvira.
Oh, you'll come down there very soon. You won't be long.
I shall probably dress for dinner. You can read the Tattler if you want.
Oh, darling, you don't have to dress for me.
I always dress for dinner.
Well, what are you going to eat? I should like to watch me something really delicious.
Be a good girl now. You can play the gramophone if you'd like.
Thank you, Charles.
No, it's still full.
I do sympathize with you. Really, I do. It has been quite a chapter of accidents, hasn't it?
It certainly has.
That happens sometimes, you know. Everything seems to go wrong at once, exactly as though there are some evil forces at work. I remember once when George and I were away on a fortnight's holiday, not long after we were married. We were dogged with bad luck from beginning to end. The weather was vile. George sprained his ankle. I caught a cold and had to stay in bed for 2 days. And to crown everything, the lamp fell over in the sitting room and caught fire to the trees. George had written on hyperplasia of the abdominal gland.
How dreadful.
Yes, he had to write it all over, every single word.
Would you like some sherry?
Oh, no thank you, really not. George will be down in a moment and we've got to go like lightning. We were due at the Wigmonts at 7 and it's nearly that now.
I think I'll have some. I feel I need it.
Don't worry about your husband's arm, Mrs. Condamine. I'm sure it's only a slight sprain.
It's not his arm I'm worried about.
And I'm sure poor Edith will be out of shape.
My cook gave notice this morning.
Well, really? Servants are awful, aren't they? And not a shred of gratitude. At the first sign of trouble, they run out on you, like rats leaving a sinking ship.
I feel your simile isn't entirely fortunate, Mrs. Brown.
Oh, I didn't mean it like that. Really, I didn't.
Nothing to worry about, Mrs. Condamine. It's only a slight sprain.
Oh, I'm so relieved.
You made a great deal of fuss when I examined it, though. Men are much worse patients than women, particularly high-strung men, like your husband.
Do you think he's highly strung?
I do. As a matter of fact, I've been meaning to talk to you about that. I believe he's been overworking.
Overworking?
He's in sort of a nervous condition. Nothing serious, you understand, but I certainly advise complete rest for a couple of weeks.
You mean he ought to go away?
I do. In cases like that, change of atmosphere can work wonders.
Well, what symptoms did you notice?
Oh, nothing to be unduly alarmed about. A slight air of strain, an inability to focus his eyes on the person he's talking to, and rather marked relevancies in his conversation.
Oh, can you remember a specific example?
He suddenly shouted, "What are you doing in the bathroom?" And then a little later, while I was writing him out a prescription, he shouted, "For God's sakes, behave yourself."
How extraordinary.
And he often goes on like that, particularly when he's immersed in writing a book.
Oh, I'm not in the least perturbed by it, really, I'm not. But I do think that a rest and a change would be a good idea.
Oh, thank you, Doctor. Would you like some sherry?
No, we really must be off.
How is poor Edith?
She'll be all right in a few days. She's still recovering from her concussion.
It's funny, isn't it, that both your housemaid and your husband should fall down on the same day, isn't it?
Yes, if that sort of thing amuses you.
Oh, I didn't mean it like that, Mrs. Condamine. Really, I didn't.
You're talking too much as usual.
You are horrid, George. Goodbye, Mrs. Condamine. Goodbye.
I shall pop in sometime tomorrow morning and check on both patients.
Oh, thank you so much, Doctor.
Well, well, well. How does it feel?
All right.
Yeah, it's only a slight sprain, you know.
Is this damn sling really necessary?
It's a wise precaution.
I intended to go to Folkestone this evening.
It would be much better if you didn't.
You can perfectly easily wait and go tomorrow, Charles.
Oh, Charles, I can't stand another dreary evening at home. I really can't. I haven't seen a movie for 7 years.
I congratulate you.
Charles, try to be sensible. I implore you.
Sorry, darling.
You can drive the car if you promise to go slowly and carefully. Your gear changes on the right, correct?
Yes.
Well, your left hand as little as possible.
Now, why don't you go another time, Charles?
Couldn't you drive me?
Oh, no, I'm afraid I couldn't. I've got the house to take care of, and there's Edith to be attended to.
Well, I'll leave it to you to fight out amongst yourselves. But remember, if you insist on going easy, does it? The roads are slippery anyhow.
Thank you.
Come on, dear.
Goodbye again.
Goodbye.
Surely you could wait and go to the movies another night, Elvira. You really are infuriating. Oh, and stop behaving like a schoolgirl. You ought to know better.
What?
I was talking to Elvira.
She isn't here.
She was a moment ago. She threw these roses out.
I know this mood of old. It usually meant that she was up to something.
You're sure she isn't here?
Quite sure.
Oh, I want to talk to you.
Oh, God.
Oh, I must. It's important.
Ruth,
Yes.
you've behaved well the last few days.
Oh.
You're not going to start making scenes again, are you?
I resent that air of patronage, Charles. I behaved well, as you call it, because there's nothing else to do. But I offer no guarantee for the future. My patience is being stretched to the uttermost.
Well, you must see that it's hard for Elvira.
Oh, well, what did she expect?
Well, as far as I can see, the position is just as difficult for Elvira as it is for you.
Uh-huh.
If not more so.
Uh-huh.
The poor little thing comes back all these years from the other side, and what is she faced with? Nothing but brawling and hostility.
Well, did she expect anything else?
Even an ectoplasmic manifestation has the right to a little of the milk of human kindness.
Milk of human fiddlesticks.
That just doesn't make sense, dear.
This is a fight, Charles. A bloody battle. A duel to the death between Elvira and me. Don't you realize that?
Melodramatic hysteria.
It isn't melodramatic hysteria. It's true. Can't you see?
No, I can't. You're imagining things, Ruth. Jealousy makes people see the most curious of delusions.
I'm making every effort not to lose my patience with you, Charles, but I must say you're making it increasingly difficult for me. She...
I don't mean to make it difficult for
Oh,
you.
well, she came here with one purpose, and one purpose only, and if you can't see that, you're a bigger fool than I thought you. Ugh.
What purpose could she have than the natural desire to come and see me again?
Her purpose is perfectly obvious. It is to give you to herself forever.
You're mad. How could she do that?
Oh, by killing you off, of course.
Killing me off? How could she do?
Why do you suppose Edith fell down the stairs and nearly cracked her skull?
What's Edith got to do with it?
Because the hole in the top of the stairs was covered with axle grease. Cook found it afterwards.
You're making things up, Ruth.
I'm not, I swear I'm not. And why do you suppose when you were lopping that dead branch off the pear tree that the ladder broke? Because it had been practically sawn through on both sides.
Why would she want to kill me?
Oh.
I can see why she wants to kill you. But why me?
By killing you, it would be her final triumph over me. She'd have you forever and ever on her damn astral plane. And I'd be left high and dry. She's probably planning some sort of spiritual remarriage. I wouldn't put anything past her. Don't you see now?
She couldn't be so sly, so wicked.
Couldn't she just? Oh, stop behaving like a wounded spaniel and concentrate. This is serious.
Well, then what are we to do?
We're behaved perfectly ordinarily, as though nothing had happened. I'm going to Madame Arcadi. If she can't get rid of Elvira, she must know some technical method of rendering her harmless. If a trance is necessary, she'll go into it if I have to beat her into it. Tell Elvira I've got to see the vicar. I'll be back in half an hour.
Oh, this is appalling.
Oh, never mind about that now. Remember, don't give yourself away by the so much as a flick of an eyelid.
Look out!
What?
I merely said it's a nice lookout.
What's a nice lookout?
The weather, Elvira.
I find it very difficult to believe that you and Ruth at this particular moment can't find anything more interesting to talk about than the weather.
I can't can't stand this any longer. Really, I can't.
Ruth, dear, please.
Has she broken out again?
What did she say?
She asked to be broken out again.
How dare you talk like that, Elvira? We were not talking about the weather as you so shrewdly suspected. I should loathe you to think that we have any secrets from you. And so I will explain exactly what we were talking about. I was trying to convince him not to drive you into Folkestone this evening. It would be bad for his arm, and you can perfectly, easily wait and go tomorrow. However, as he seems determined to put your wishes above mine in everything, I have nothing further to say. I'm sure and hope you both enjoy yourself.
Charles, have you been absolutely beastly to her?
No, Ruth doesn't like being thwarted any more than you do.
Oh, she's a woman of sterling character. Pity she's so ungiven.
I wish you wouldn't talk to Ruth when you're with me. It makes me uncomfortable.
I'll mention again. Are you ready?
For what?
To go to Folkestone, of course.
Not until I've had another sherry.
Oh, I don't believe you want to take me all.
Of course I want to take you. I still think we should go another night. Still, yeah.
Oh, how familiar this is.
In what way familiar?
All for a married life. I'd only suggest something for you to immediately start hedging me off.
I'm not hedging you off. I merely say.
All right. All right. We'll spend another cozy, intimate evening at home with Ruth, throwing away that hideous table center, and her snapping at us with the terrier.
Ruth is perfectly aware that the table center is hideous. It happens to be a birthday present for her mother.
There is no use defending Ruth's taste to me. It's fairly artsy-craftsy, and you know it.
It's not artsy-craftsy.
Oh, look at those awful curtains and that disgusting shawl on the piano. Or desk. Perhaps the piano's not here anymore.
We had to get it removed after you passed away. But that was sent from us from Burma, from Lady McKinley.
Well, obviously because it was sent to her from Birmingham.
Oh, Elvira, if you keep on behaving like this, we shan't go to Folkestone ever.
Charles, please don't be elderly and bland. Please, let's go now.
Not until I've had another sherry.
You really are tiresome, darling. I've been waiting about for hours.
Well, then a few more minutes won't make any difference then.
Oh, very well.
Besides, the car won't be back for half an hour at the least.
What do you mean?
Ruth's taking it to see the vicar.
What?
What on earth's the matter?
You say Ruth's taking the car?
Yes, to go see the vicar.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Elvira,
Go stop her. You must stop her at once.
what on earth for?
Just go and stop her immediately.
It's too late now. I saw her go a few minutes ago.
Oh. Oh.
What have you done, Elvira?
Done? I haven't done anything.
You're lying.
I'm not lying. What is there to lie about?
What are you in such a state for?
See, I'm not a state. I'm not.
You've done something dreadful.
No, Charles. I haven't. I swear I haven't.
My God, the car.
Oh, Charles.
What? Ruth was right. You did want to kill me.
I know.
Oh, the car, the car. What have you done? Answer me. Hello? Hello? Yes, speaking. Oh, I see. The bridge at the bottom of the hill? Oh, no, I'll be there right away. Thank you.
Of all the low-down, dirty... Ooh, ow, stop! Ruth! Ruth! Ruth, leave, go! Oh.
I hope you will not consider this an intrusion, Mr. Condamine.
Not at all. Have a seat, won't you?
Thank you.
Would you like some coffee or a liquor?
No, thank you. I had to come, Mr. Condamine.
Yes?
I felt a tremendous urge, like a rushing wind, and so I hopped on my bike, and here I am.
That is very kind of you.
No, no, no. Not kind at all. It is my duty. I know it strongly.
Duty?
I reproach myself bitterly, you know.
Oh, there's no necessity for that.
I allowed myself to get into a huff the other day with your late wife, Mr. Condamine. I rode her all the way home in the grip of temper. I've regretted it ever since. Mine is the shame, mine is the blame. I shall never forgive myself. Had I not been so impetuous, had I listened to the cool voice of reason, so much might have been averted.
You told my wife very distinctly that nothing else could be done. You were perfectly honest. Over and above the original unfortunate mistake, I see no reason for you to reproach yourself.
I threw up the sponge. In a time of crisis, I threw up the sponge instead of throwing down the gauntlet.
Whatever you threw, Madame Arcadi, I can surely say that nothing could be done.
I cannot bring myself to admit defeat so easily. It is gall and wormwood to me. I could have at least concentrated, made an effort.
Never mind.
I do mind. I cannot help it. I mind with every fiber of my being. I've been thinking very carefully. I've also been reading up a great deal during these last few dreadful days. I gather that we are alone.
Yes, my first wife is lying down. The funeral exhausted her. I gather my second wife is with her, but of course I have no way of knowing for certain.
You've remarked the difference in texture of your first wife since the accident?
No, not really. A trifle low-spirited, that's all.
Well, that washes that up. In the 19th century, it was a pretty widespread belief that a ghost who participated in the death of a human being disintegrated automatically.
How did you know that Elvira was in any way a part of Ruth's death?
Elvira. Such a pretty name, isn't it? Has definite lilt to it. Elvira. Elvira.
Stick to the point, Madame Arcadi. How did you know?
It came to me last night, Mr. Condamine. It came to me in a blinding flash. I just finished my Ovaltine, turned out the lights, and I started up in bed with a loud cry. Great Scott, I said, I've got it! I then began to put two and two together. At 3 in the morning, with my brain barely seething, I went to work on my crystal. It wasn't very satisfactory, though. Cloudy, you know.
Edith. Sorry. I would like you to keep any theories you have regarding my wife's death to yourself, Madame Arcadi.
My one desire is to help you. I fear I've been dreadfully remiss over this whole process. No, not remiss. Untidy.
I'm sure to say that nothing else could be done.
But there is. I found a formula. Here it is. I copied it out of Edmondson's Witchcraft and its Byways.
What the hell are you talking about?
Unto your heart, Mr. Condamine, all is not lost.
Now look here, Madame Arcadi.
You are still anxious to dematerialize your late wife, I suppose?
Of course.
Well, I have a formula here that would disintegrate her without hurting her feelings in the least. It only requires complete concentration from you and a minor trance from me. I might even be able to manage it without lying down.
Charles,
What on earth's the matter?
what's she doing here?
She came to offer me her condolences.
They should have been congratulations.
Elvira, not to talk like that. Madame Arcadi, I'd like to introduce you to my first wife, Elvira.
How do you do?
Oh, wait, Charles. I need to talk to you.
In what part of the room is she at this very moment?
She's moving about rather rapidly. I'll tell you when and where she settles.
She's the one who got me here in the first place, isn't she?
Yes.
Well, tell her to get me away. I want to go home immediately.
Very interesting. Very interesting. I feel ectoplasm strongly.
What a disgusting thing to say.
Where is she now?
Here, close to me.
Are you happy, my dear?
Tell a silly old witch to mind her own business.
Was the journey difficult? Are you weary?
For God's sake, Charles, get in the other room. I need to talk to you for a minute.
Madame Arcadi.
Just a moment. We almost have contact. I can sense the vibrations. This is magnificent.
Go on, Elvira. Give her a show.
Just as long as you promise to get in the other room.
All right.
Yes, again. How's that? This is first rate, absolutely stunning.
I'm so glad you're pleased.
Get in the other room, Charles. I need to talk to you, which will be in a minute.
Madame Arcadi, would you think it frightfully rude if I asked you to go in the dining room for a moment? My first wife wishes to speak with me alone.
Must find it so lovely actually being in the room with her.
I promise you'll be here when you come back.
Very well. Hand me my bag, will you?
Here you are.
You darling, you little darling.
from me. I know it was your highest hope to murder me.
Oh, don't put it like that. It sounds so beastly.
It is beastly. It's one of the most beastly ideas I've ever heard.
You know, there was a time when you would have welcomed the chance of being with me forever and ever. Oh, Charles.
What are you crying for?
They're only ghost tears. They don't mean a thing, but they hurt.
All you do is bicker.
Oh, that's right. Rub it in. Anyhow, it was only because I loved you. The silliest thing I ever did in my entire life was to love you. I just sat there, longing for you on the other side day after day. I did, really. All through your affair with that brassy-looking woman from the south of France. I went on loving you and thinking truly of you. And then you married Ruth, and even then I forgave you. I tried to understand, because deep down I really believed you loved me best. That's why I put myself down for a return visit and had to fill out all those papers. Sit around and draft up passages for hours. Oh, maybe if you had died before you met Ruth, everything might be all right. She's absolutely ruined you. I hadn't been in the house a day before I realized it, and your books aren't a quarter as good as they used to be either.
That's not entirely untrue. Ruth helped me and encouraged me with my work. The damn sight more than you ever did.
Well, that's probably what's wrong with it.
All you ever did was go out and start enjoying yourself and go to those parties.
Oh, why shouldn't I enjoy myself and have fun? I died young, didn't I?
You needn't have died at all if you hadn't gone out to the river with Guy Henderson and get soaked to the skin.
Oh, so we're back to Guy Henderson again, are we?
You behaved abominably over Guy Henderson.
Guy adored me, anyhow. He was very attractive.
You told me he didn't attract you in the least.
Well, you'd have gone for the roof if I told you you did.
Did you have an affair with him?
I'd rather not discuss it if you don't mind.
Did you or didn't you?
Of course I didn't.
You let him know, didn't you?
Well, how could I stop him? He was bigger than I was.
Oh, Myron, you swore to me.
Of course I did. You were always making scenes over nothing at all.
Nothing at
You
all.
never loved me a bit, really. It was all your beastly vanity.
Do you think it was only my vanity that made me upset when you went out on that punt with Guy Henderson?
It was not a punt. It was a little launch.
I don't care if it was a twin-ass schooner. You had no right.
You seem to forget why I went. You seem to forget that the entire night you've been busy making sheep's eyes, that overblown hairdo with the false pearls.
A woman in Cynthia Cheviot's position would hardly wear false pearls.
They were practically all she was wearing.
Oh, Elvira. Looking back on her married years, I see it was nothing but a mockery.
You invite mockery, Charles. It has something to do with your personality, I think. A certain seedy grandeur. You never suspected it, but I laughed at you steadily from the altar to the grave. All your ridiculous petty jealousies and your fussings and fumings.
You were feckless and irresponsible, and I knew that before we left Budley Salterton.
Oh, nobody but a monumental bore would have had a honeymoon at Budley Salterton.
What's the matter with Budley Salterton?
I was an eager young bride, Charles. I wanted glamour and music and romance, and all I got was potted palms, 7 hours a day, and a damn golf course, and a three-piece orchestra playing Merry England.
I wish you would have said something beforehand.
I did. You wouldn't listen. That's why I went out in the moors that day with Captain Bracegirdle. I was desperate.
You swore to me you went out to go see your Aunt Exmouth.
It was the moors
With Captain Bracegirdle?
with Captain Bracegirdle.
Oh, Elvira, how could you? Did he make love to you?
Of course.
Oh, God.
Only very discreetly. He was in the cavalry, you know.
Well, all I can say is I'm well rid of you.
Fortunately, you're not.
Oh, yes, I am. You were dead. Ruth's dead. I'm going to sell this house lock, stock, and barrel.
Well, I shall follow you.
Oh, no, you won't. I'm going somewhere far, far away. South America.
Oh, well, that can't be helped. You called me back. Yeah, I have to follow you.
I most emphatically did not call you back.
Well, somebody did, and it's hardly likely to have been Ruth. You were talking about me before dinner that evening.
I could have just as easily been talking about Joan of Arc, but that doesn't mean I wanted her to come and live with me.
As a matter of fact, it's rather fun.
Oh.
When I think of what might have happened if I succeeded in getting you to the other side, it makes me shudder. It does, honestly. It would have been nothing but squawking and babbling forever and ever and ever.
I'm sick of these insults. Please go away.
There's nothing I should like better. I always believed in cutting my losses. That's why I died. You know, hello, girl, and again, instead of work, I want to go home immediately.
I want you to go home immediately, too. Madame Arcadi!
Is she here? Is the darling still here?
Yeah, she's over there.
My dear, oh my dear.
Stop her fawning on me, Charles, or or I shall break something.
Madam Arcadi, my wife and I have been talking, and we wish for her to go home immediately,
Home?
wherever she came from.
Are you sure she wouldn't like to stay a few days longer?
Oh, I want to go now.
I could come and be with her. I could bring my crystal.
God forbid.
I'm quite sure, Madam Arcadi. Strain every nerve. Let's make it happen this time.
If you insist.
I most emphatically do insist.
Oh, Charles.
What now?
I can't guarantee anything, you know. I'll try, but it may not work.
Oh, it better work. You said something about formula.
Nothing more than little verse, really. It fell into disuse after the 17th century. I shall need some pepper and salt.
I'll go get it. There's some in the dining room.
We all, of course, have some shepherd's wort and frog or two, but I think I can manage without. You won't be frightened, my dear. It's absolutely painless.
Here you go. Is this enough?
Plenty. Smoke it right there in the middle, will you? Now let me see. Ah, yes, just a soup, son. Right there.
It's going to be a complete flop. I can tell you that here and now.
She's trying her best.
No few snapdragons out of the vase.
Here you are.
Merlin does this sort of thing at parties and bores us all stiff with it.
Now then, the gramophone. In the old days, of course, they used a zither or reed pipes. We'd better have the same record we had before, I should think.
I'll get it.
Oh, if only Mr. Emser for the Psychical Research Center could see this, he'd have a fit. He really would. Don't start it yet, dear. Now then, Mr. Conmine, sit down. And rest your hands lightly on the table, but don't put your fingers in the pepper. I should get the light myself. Oh, shucks, I nearly forgotten. One triangle, a half circle, and a little G.
It's a waste of time. She's a complete pig.
She's trying her best.
Now, if your wife be kind enough to lay down on the sofa.
Go on, Elvira, do as she says.
This is sheer nonsense. Don't blame me if I get giggles.
Concentrate, think of nothing.
That's right. Wait. Hands at the sides, legs extended. Breathe steadily. 1, 2, 1, 2. Is she comfortable?
Are you comfortable?
No.
She's quite comfortable.
I shall join you in a moment, Mr. Conmine. I may have to go into a slight trance, but if I do, pay no attention. Now, first the music, away we go. Hold on to yourself. Concentrate. Ghostly spectre, ghoul or fiend, nevermore be thou convened. Shepherd's wort or holy rite, banish thee into the night.
What a disagreeable little verse.
Oh, be quiet, Elvira.
Is there anyone there? Is there anyone there? 1 rap for yes, 2 raps for no. Now then, is there anyone there? Good stuff. Is that you, Daphne? I'm sorry to bother you, dear, but Mrs. Conmine wishes to return. Now, Daphne, did you hear what I said? Can you help us? Hold on to yourself, Mr. Conmine. I'm trying to break away.
Oh, Madam Arcadi, are you all right?
No.
Oh, God.
Oh, she's in one of her damn trances again. I'm as great much as I ever was.
Oh, Madam Arcadi, wake up.
Here we go. She's a whale of a time.
Oh.
Oh, if I ever get back, I'll strangle that bloody little death.
Oh,
What happened?
nothing at all.
Something happened, all right? I can feel it. Is she still here?
Yes.
Something must have gone wrong.
No. Make her do it right, Charles. She's being messed about like this.
Something happened, all right. I can feel it. I sensed it. It shivered through me.
Once and for all, Charles, what the hell does this mean? mind a bit. As a matter of fact, I would be extremely surprised if you weren't.
Why?
The reply to that is really too obvious.
I wish you two would stop bickering for 1 minute.
This has possibly been one of the most frustrating nights I have ever spent.
Well, the reply to that is pretty obvious, too.
I'm sure I don't know what you mean.
Skip it.
Now look here, Elvira. If you and I got to stay together indefinitely in this house, and it's looking unpleasantly likely, well then we'd better come to some sort of an arrangement.
You are not staying indefinitely in this house.
With you then. We shall have to be with you.
No, no. You could take a cottage somewhere.
You called us back.
I did not call you back.
Madame Arcadi said you did.
Madame Arcadi is a muddling old fool.
I could have told you that in the first place.
I think you're behaving very shabbily, Charles. We both agreed that as Elvira and I are dead, it would be both right and proper for us to dematerialize. That, I admit. We have allowed ourselves to be subjected to the most humiliating hocus pocus for hours and hours without complaining.
What? Without complaining?
We've stood up, we've lain down, we've concentrated. We've sat interminably while that tiresome old woman recited extremely unflattering verse status. We've endured 5 seances. We watched her fling herself in and out of trances until we're dizzy. And at the end of all of it, we find ourselves exactly where we were at the beginning.
You're tired? You're tired? I'm the one doing all the damn table tapping around here.
If she can't get us back, she can't. And that's that. We shall have to think of something else.
I already told you. It's no good. If we got Cadleius, Mesmer, Merlin, the Gilderests, and the Black Douglas on our own, they couldn't do a thing. The impotence has got to come from this. Or perhaps Charles doesn't want us to go enough.
Oh, I've explained until I'm black in the face that I want you to go.
Perhaps I have a very weak will then. I always suspected it.
Oh, it's no use arguing anymore. Wake up, Madame Arcadi!
Oh, not another seance. Please, not another seance.
Wake up, Madame Arcadi.
Shake her!
It might upset her.
I don't care if it kills her.
Harder! Madame Arcadi!
What time is it?
Oh.
5:10.
What time did I go off?
About an hour ago.
Curious. Very curious. Excuse me for a moment. I must make a note of that in my diary.
Oh.
Are they still here?
Yes.
How disappointing.
I know. Is there any suggestions you have?
We mustn't give up hope. Chin up, never give in. That's my motto.
This schoolgirl phraseology is driving me mad.
Now then, what do you say? We have another seance and they'll put our shoulders to the wheel. Make it a real rouser.
No, not another seance, Charles.
I might be able to materialize a trumpet if I tried hard enough. Better than nothing, you know. I feel fit as a fiddle after my rest.
I don't care if she materializes a whole symphony orchestra. I implore you not to let her have another seance.
Madame Arcadi, we should have a discussion before you go on any more trances.
Good. An excellent idea. And while we do, I'm going to have another one of these delicious sandwiches. I'm hungry as a hunter.
Would you like some more beer?
No, thank you. Better not.
Well, I'm having a sherry.
Make it a double. Enjoy yourself.
Oh, I will.
One day, I intend to give myself the pleasure of telling Madame Arcadi exactly what I think of her.
Are the girls getting despondent?
I'm afraid they are, rather.
We'll win through yet. Don't be downhearted.
If we're not careful, she'll materialize a whole hockey team.
Now then, Mr. Condamine, the discussion. Fire away.
My wives and I were discussing, and they've somehow come to the conclusion that I called them back.
Very nice.
I didn't call them back.
Love is a strong psychic force, Mr. Condamine. It can work untold miracles. A true love call can encompass the universe.
I didn't call them back.
But, Mr. Condamine,
That is my final word on the subject. I didn't call them back.
Mr. Condamine, neither one of them could have appeared unless someone, a psychic subject in this house, had wished for them.
Well, it wasn't me.
Are you sure? Are you really sure?
Quite sure.
Right, Scott, I believe I'm barking up the wrong tree.
How do you mean?
The Sudbury case.
I don't understand.
There's no reason why you should. It was before your time. I wonder.
Well, what was the Sudbury case?
It was the case that made me famous, Mr. Condamine. what you might describe in theatrical parlance as my first smash hit. I had letters from all over the world about it, especially India.
What did you do?
I dematerialized old Lady Sudbury after she'd been firmly entrenched in a private chapel for over 17 years.
How?
Chance, a fluke. I haven't done it by the merest coincidence.
What fluke?
Wait, all in good time. Now let me see. Who was in the house during our first seance?
Ruth, me, yourself, and the Bradmans.
Yes, to be sure. But the Bradmans weren't here last night, were they?
No.
Quickly, my crystal.
Here you are.
Damn, the thing gives me the pip. It's cloudy again. It's there again. I'm beginning to understand.
I'm not.
A bandage. Hold on to a white bandage.
I haven't got the white bandage.
She's too good, you know. She ought to be in a circus.
Be you in nook or cranny, answer me. Be you in still room or closet, answer me. Be you behind the panel, above the stairs, beneath the eaves, waking or sleeping, answer me. That ought to do it, I'm a Dutchman.
Ought to do what?
Oh, she better not throw any more of that garlic about. It nearly made me sick last time.
Would you like me to turn the gramophone on?
No, it's near, it's very near.
The ghost of the screen. Oh, I hope it's nobody we know. I should feel so silly.
Did you ring, sir?
The bandage, the white bandage.
No.
I'm sorry, sir. Could have sworn I heard the bell or someone calling. I was asleep. I don't rightly know which it was.
Come here, child.
Oh,
Go on. Go to Madame Arcadi.
Whom do you see in this room, child?
oh dear.
Answer, please.
You, madam.
Go on.
The master.
Anyone else?
Oh, no, madam.
Come, child. Don't beat about the bush. I'll be
Fire.
dead.
Do concentrate and keep still.
I can't. Do you see anyone else now?
Oh, no, madam.
She's lying.
Oh, madam.
They always do.
They?
Where are they now?
By the fireplace.
Oh,
Do you mean to say she can see them?
probably not very clearly, but enough.
Let me go. I haven't done anything or seen anybody.
No one
Let
said
me
you
go back
had.
to bed.
Give her a sandwich.
Oh.
I don't want a sandwich. I want to go back to bed. Nonsense. A big, healthy girl like you saying no to a delicious sandwich? Sit down.
Do what she
Please,
says
sir,
you did.
but I haven't
Oh.
If she's going to cause all this unpleasantness, I'll give her a week's notice tomorrow.
You may not be here tomorrow.
Look at me, Edith. Cuckoo. Cuckoo. Cuckoo.
Oh, dear, what's the matter with you, Sean?
Look, Edith. This is my finger. Such a long finger. Look. Now to the right. Now to the left. Backwards and forwards it goes. Very quietly. Backwards and forwards. Tick. Tock. Tick. Tock. Tick.
So now set up the clock.
Oh, be quiet.
Well, she's off, all right.
All?
She's in action, just the same as the Sudbury case. It really is the most amusing coincidence. Now that your wives would stand close together, please.
Where?
Over there by you.
Ruth? Elvira?
I resent being ordered about like this, Charles.
I don't like it. I don't like any of it.
I'm afraid I must insist.
Serve you right. We gladly refuse to do any of this at all.
Are you sorry for having been so mischievous, Edith?
Oh, yes, madam.
You know what you have to do now, don't you, Edith?
Oh, yes, madam.
Oh, I believe this is going to work. Shh. Oh, this is goodbye, Charles.
Tell her to stop for a minute. I want to say before I go.
You should have thought of that beforehand.
Oh, mean, ungrateful.
Charles, listen a moment.
I thought I could break
Don't keep her getting rid of the twice.
And I could have enjoyed it more.
Oh, that's true.
Splendid, hurrah, we've done it!
When the things you planned needs a helping hand, I will understand.
That's quite enough singing for the moment, Edith.
We've done it. We've done it. They're gone. They're really gone.
I think we really pulled it off this time.
You might want to wake her up. She might bring them back.
Wake up, child.
Where am I, sir?
I ran for you, Edith.
I know it is.
I was in bed. How did I get down here?
Again, I rang for you, didn't I, Madam Arcadi?
Did I drop off? Do you think it's my concussion again?
I would like to thank you, Edith. Thank you. Thank you very much indeed.
Oh, sir, whatever for. Oh, sir!
What on earth did you meant by that?
Golly, what a night. I'm ready to drop in my tracks.
Oh, would you like to stay here? There's a spare room.
No, thank you. There's no nest. I'll go home to Judy. It's only 7 miles.
I would like to thank you, Madam Arcadi. Thank you very much indeed. Maybe, I don't know how you settle your accounts, but I'm sure you'll settle mine in due course.
Nonsense, Mr. Conmine. I wouldn't dream of such a thing, really.
But Madam Arcadi, all those trances.
I enjoy them, Mr. Conmine. I always have since a child.
Oh, well, then maybe someday you'll join me for lunch.
When you come back, I should be delighted.
Come back?
Take my advice, Mr. Conmine, and go away as soon as possible.
I don't understand.
This must be an unhappy house for you. There must be memories both grave and gay in every corner of it. Also,
Also what?
there are more things in heaven and earth, Mr. Conmine. Just go. Pack your traps and go as soon as possible.
You don't mean to say that they may still be here?
Quien sabe, as the Spanish say.
I'll take your advice, Madam Arcadi. Thank you very much.
Goodbye, Mr. Conmine. Do you mind if I take one of these delicious sandwiches for the road?
Sure. Again, thank you, Madam Arcadi.
Don't trouble, I can find my way. Cheerio once more, and good hunting.
Ruth? Elvira? Are you there? Ruth? Elvira? Oh, I know damn well you're there. I just want to let you know that I'm going away, so there's no use hanging around here any longer. I'm going a long way away, somewhere where I don't think you'll be able to follow me. And in spite of what Elvira says, I don't think spirits can travel over water. Is that quite clear, my darlings? You said in one of your more acid moments, Ruth, that I was hag-ridden all my life. How right you were. But now I'm free. Not only of you, but of Mother and Elvira and Mrs. Winthrop Llewellyn. And I just want to take this farewell opportunity to let you know that I'm enjoying it immensely. Really, I enjoy our time together, but I'm afraid I must say it's time for me to go, and for you to go. Oh, our time together was lovely at some times, but... Ah, I thought so. You were always silly, Elvira, to think that I didn't know about you and Captain Grayskirdle. I did. But what you didn't know was I was extremely attached to Paula Westlake at the time. I was recently faithful to you, Ruth. But I doubt if it would have lasted much longer. You see, you were becoming increasingly domineering. And there's nothing more off-putting than that, is there? Goodbye for the moment, my dears. I guess we are bound to meet one day. But until then, I'm going to enjoy myself like I've never enjoyed myself before. You can break up the house as much as you like. I'm leaving it. Think kindly of me. Send out good thoughts. Nice work, Ruth. Get Elvira to help you persevere. And goodbye again. Well, goodbye again. Parting is such sweet sorrow.
and the